No, Liam. We've had this discussion before about people like Ronaldo. Like you don't take them off because they can do something like that, no
Hang
matter
on, hang
what
on, hang on.
no matter what they're not doing.
You were comparing Ross Barkley to Danny Drinkwater 4 weeks ago, and now you're comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Hey, the evidence has changed.
Hi guys, Jack Grealish here. Delighted to say that I've signed a new deal with Aston Villa.
That morning sky gave me a look, so I left while you were sleeping. That's all it took. And I chalked the line, sat down.
Oh my god. I don't know where to start with this. My first question to you, Liam, was going to be: is that a good point or 2 points lost? Villa are 4 wins in a row, 3 clean sheets, beat Leicester, beat Liverpool. Game in hand, they go top of the league. If they lose that game in hand, they're still second. That's how sad I am. I still check that, but I think we need to start thinking bigger than this because the league is a shambles. Villa look to be the only ones who've gotten their acts together, and fucking hell, they do have their act together. This is unbelievable. It's actually amazing how good Villa are. I'm getting excited, but I think I have every right to be excited. Try and stop me.
No, absolutely not. I actually looked up beforehand and was wondering how many goals could we afford to lose by and still stay in the Champions League places. Uh, but no, Leicester have reaped what they sowed in March because since that game, Villa have went into the lockdown period, and Dean Smith just obviously became obsessed with sorting out the defence.
Mm.
And Leicester City are the reason Villa stayed up last year, and they're the reason Villa are going to win the league. It's brilliant.
Actually, you mentioned that game. That was very, very fitting. You probably remember the moment the ball went in behind, looked a bit dodgy. I think Iheanacho was offside, but straight out, bang! There was Martinez, read it like a dream, got rid of the danger, 2 centre backs relieved. And you go back to that Leicester match when it was utter, utter devastation was lying around Villa Park, and Pepe Reina's bald head comes running into your screen out of nowhere, about 40 yards out on the wing, misses the ball, Leicester score an easy goal. Like that's the difference now. It's like Emi Martinez is in net, Villa. That like there's one moment like that where it looks like they're in behind, he's actually offside, and even so, the keeper is just dealing with it. It's just complete solidity all over. And now, obviously, we always knew that Dean Smith was a good, exciting attacking manager. He's obviously blended the two of them together.
Yeah, and whenever you've got the solidity, it really allows you to have the attacking side playing well and playing with confidence. But yeah, it's not a surprise to anyone that found out that Emi Martinez is faster than Reina. I was actually looking up that just before the match started as well, obviously feeling nervous. And Reina's so far away from the ball whenever that happens. The photo of that from behind, and it's just Barnes is about 2 yards to Reina's right. It's hilarious. Um, but no, yeah, it was a brilliant, solid display from Villa, all predicated on that Leicester defeat last year. They're so solid, and they're the only team in the country that has remembered how to defend. And I don't know if it was because they spent so long during lockdown trying to figure it out, and then there was such a short pre-season. But Villa are brilliant in defence, and everybody else is an absolute shambles. It's hilarious, and it's gonna take us to the title.
Well, it is. It's Villa's title to lose. Because I think I texted you earlier today going, Jesus, like Spurs are actually going to win the league because you're looking around and you're like, well, Liverpool, lots of question marks over them now. They're still by far and away the most likely team to do it. They should do it. But without Van Dijk, with Allison gone for another few weeks, that could be ropey. The wheels could come off a little bit there. I still think they'll win the league. This is madness. But Man City don't look. I can't believe we're getting into this conversation. let's stop. Let's stop. But you know what a great thing was about this game, and it really told the difference and how fast Villa have progressed. So I I knew it was going really well. I had every reason to be optimistic, but I didn't know that after 4 games, the fourth game in, a top a top team, a top 16 definitely in the Premier League, would be setting up at home to try and stifle Villa. And like, that's what Leicester did. They came tonight to try and stop Villa. It was actually amazing. And I was thinking, oh, this is where Villa are coming up short now. They weren't ready for teams to set up to try and stop them, But it's great that after 4 games, there's already teams thinking that way.
Yeah, as much as Villa learned from the 4-0 defeat to Leicester in March, Leicester obviously learned from the Villa-Liverpool game 2 weeks ago. It was really a mental and physical war of attrition. It was two teams and two managers who understood what the other team wanted to do and did their best to stifle that. It wasn't a great game, but it was a really intriguing game. But yeah, no, it was really encouraging to see Leicester being conscious of what Villa could do, unlike Jurgen Klopp 2 weeks before. And they obviously learned their lesson from that as well, because Jurgen Klopp was so badly exposed for not giving Villa any credit. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Who do you like least, Brendan Rodgers or Scott Parker?
This should have been saved for questions we can't answer.
Yeah, I couldn't wait. I wanted to play the boot into Brendan Rodgers as early as possible.
Brendan Rodgers' personality is obviously disgusting, but
he's a decent manager. Yeah,
but he is a very good manager, and he did stifle Villa really well today. And he obviously went after Villa's strongest suit, which is Jack Grealish, but he was given a big helping hand in that, and I'm sure we'll come on to that, or maybe we'll just go on to it right now. I was actually thinking, Jesus, this is the best job I've ever seen done on Jack Grealish. But then I realised, sure, if the rules don't apply to the right back, then of course it's the best fucking job. That was an absolutely disgraceful performance from Jonathan Moss, and I guarantee you, Jonathan Moss doesn't like Jack Grealish. That's had to have been personal.
It's very perceptive, and I actually wanted to start talking about Jonathan Moss. I obviously blame him, and I do think there was some sort of agenda there, or it was despicable. Castagna, like you said, it was a good job on Grealish, but he should have had 2 yellow cards. That it was just completely ignored. The second one was unbelievable. Textbook isn't even the word, because it was more vicious than a textbook yellow card. It came in with bite, Grealish had just chipped it over him, gone down the left, and bang, cleaned him about a half a second later. But I almost blame the Villa players a little bit on this, right? Because there was a moment in the first half where Pratt came in with almost like a Pickford challenge on Grealish, and not really a word said about it. And I get, right, I don't want to go down the sort of Barcelona route. Remember the Barcelona of old, where everybody was running around the referee at every opportunity. But on some level, you have to put the ref under pressure. You have to get into his head, especially now. There are no crowds. So that's that famous study that was done about referees who are, they give more decisions to the home team when there's a crowd there. They played a tape with crowd noise, and then they played a tape without crowd noise, and referees were more lenient towards the away team when there wasn't any crowd noise. It's actually a big opportunity, but you need to let the referee know that you're going to be riding them. There definitely is a fine line. You don't want them to think you're pricks and be out to get you the rest of the game, but you need to let them know that you're not going to be passive, and you go through it then. So there was that challenge. There was the first challenge then from Castagna on Grealish, got no card. Cash got bundled over off the ball. Emi Martinez had a save. They got a corner out of it, and again, we got rid of it. Cash got fouled for Tielemans' free, and he gave a free at the edge of the box after Cash got fouled, so it was really weird. Grealish got fouled again in the corner, but it wasn't a yellow card offence, but nothing was done. And again, Emi Martinez had a save from that, because these were all bricks. And again, the second Grealish yellow card, and it's just where is the pressure on him? And even if it's not the players, the management team or somebody needs to be riding him.
Well, yeah, the Pratt foul was on the 19th minute, I think. It was really late into the game, and it was as you said, it was a scissor tackle. So if he wasn't laying down a marker there, maybe the players just thought, what's the point? If he's not booking him for that, what are we going to do? Because Grealish was looking at him, and that made me just think, if he's not listening to Grealish, he doesn't like him. Because there was a foul earlier on, I think, was it on target, and Grealish was saying something to him, and Jonathan Moss kind of just putting his hand out as if to say, all right, mate, all right, keep quieting down, young lad. This is my game. It was so blatant that it has to have been personal. He doesn't like Jack Grealish. doesn't like his hair, doesn't like his build. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's jealous of him. I don't know, but he clearly doesn't like Jack Grealish because it was absolutely disgusting the way he was being foiled, and that's going to get Jack Grealish in trouble some game. I know Jack Grealish is well used to being hacked around the pitch, but it was so blatant and so regular tonight that it was worrying that the ref wasn't doing anything about it.
It's really worrying because he tries to stay on his feet because he wants to create things. He is going to get injured, and he's an England player. He should be more of a regular England player now. He should not be looked after more, but referees shouldn't be just taking a dislike to him like that. Like, you saw some of the stuff he was doing, like that one he laid on for Barkley in the box was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Laid on, he took it past 4 people with the ball underneath him. It's so much pressure working with an inch of grass, and he set up Barkley. Like, it is magic, and you need to let him do that without players just coming in and deliberately trying to injure him as well. It's not even just trying to stop him. Sometimes it's trying to hurt him, so he's not doing that again.
Yeah, and like the reason we're watching football is to watch Jack Grealish. It's not to watch Castagna run up and knee him in the arse. Like, that's the type of one that has to be a yellow card. He's clearly not. In what way is he trying to win the ball by kneeing somebody in the arse? But you really saw then as well how annoying it is from a Villa fan watching that Castagna wasn't booked on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh foul, because it was a completely different game then. He was afraid to do anything. He had him on toast then for the rest of the game, and it was just such a shame that he didn't get the punishment he deserved a lot earlier.
Ironically, he actually got a yellow card for probably one of the cleaner tackles that he made.
It was a great tackle, actually.
So that was a bit harsh on him, but it's funny that we're writing the referee here. But how proud were you of Matty Cash for that's the most cynical foul I've seen in a long time on a football pitch?
It was so good. It was the best thing in the first half, actually. It was the fact that he did it, and then it wasn't enough, and he brought in his right hand just to pull him down completely. It was absolutely brilliant. The double movement of it was so good.
But it makes so much sense, because like some people they almost tried to disguise that, and it's like, you're getting a yellow card anyway, so he's like, I might as well just make sure I'm grabbing him. I'm getting a yellow card, so he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Matty Cash could have got up on his back, and it was the same punishment. It was a yellow card, so it was absolutely hilarious. Yeah,
Matty Cash, for somebody who turned into a right back last year, like even that is a good example of somebody who's just switched on. He knows when there's danger, or he's created an imbalance somewhere and he's not going to let it happen. But his positioning is amazing for again, somebody who's moved back to the defence just last season. He knows where to be. He reads the game really well. Cuts out a lot of ball. There was one, Castagna had a really good attack early on, and it was just Cash. He just comes, like, Castagna was going from right back, driving diagonally towards the box, and he played a nice pass to whoever was coming in on the left, and it's just Cash just comes out, read it so well, and he carries the ball out. It's amazing how quickly he's adapted to being a great defender.
Yeah, he is a very, very good defender, yeah. And that really was a game for being switched on, and Matty Cash was brilliant at it. All 4 of them were brilliant at it. Dougie was in and out a little bit, but luckily John McGinn's back. But yeah, no, it was really a game for being tuned in, and Matty Cash was brilliant, yeah. And even in this towards the end of the game, there was 2 or 3 times Bertrand Traore had the ball, and then just all of a sudden, coming absolutely flying past the camera, is Matty Cash, and it's not necessarily getting the ball. I don't think the ball was actually played to him in any of the 3 occasions, but it clears out the defender. Justin has to go with Matty Cash, and then there's more space for Traore. Just to do that in the 91st minute when you're 1-0 up, well, it was brilliant to see.
I want to talk a wee bit more about Traore actually in categories when we get to that. But what about Trezeguet? Did he have wingers on? John McGinn played a nice pass, the same pass that he played to Grealish against Fulham. Trezeguet was looking over his shoulder, even though he was going towards the goalkeeper. He looked to be afraid of a defender coming in behind him, and he looked to be afraid of coming into the crossfire of a goalkeeper. Like, there was a big chance there, and at the time, when I was thinking this is such a stalemate of a game, get in there, man! Like, show a bit of balls and get in there.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't great from Trezeguet. Trezeguet was in and out. Trezeguet was Trezeguet tonight, and that was probably the least Trezeguet thing we could see, because he is normally all heart. you wouldn't expect them to not go for that full-blooded, especially when a goal's in the offing. Just go in, get injured, get off. You've done your job. You've done everything you would expect for the team there. I don't know. Yeah, it was shite.
The 3-on-2 with Grealish again. Like I was writing most of this when I thought there was going to be a 0-0 draw, and Villa were on top. Like they definitely died out the last 10 minutes, which is funny that the Barkley goal came in injury time. But like they were on top for most of the game. But so disappointed when Grealish went through with the ball, driving down the centre. He's got Ollie Watkins to his left. He's got Ross Barkley to his right. You couldn't pick three better players to be coming through 3-on-2 against the defence. And they probably work on that loads in training. I think you were a bit annoyed at Watkins there. I think Watkins was free and Grealish was looking more to the right, looking for Barkley, and it's like he needs to be looking for a striker there. Like that you would see Gerrard coming through there, always just looking for Suarez. We're just waiting for Suarez to get free, and I thought Watkins was free and Grealish, his body shape wasn't right, and Barkley just was fucked at that stage, and he didn't catch up enough, and then the chance went.
Right. So a couple of things happened there. Jack Grealish probably has a split second to play the ball, and you're right, it was on, and he doesn't. When he doesn't do that, the pass is not on anymore. Fofana does brilliantly, and Watkins doesn't change his run. That's the most frustrating thing whenever you're carrying the ball forward. Yeah, I know I should have played the pass, but I haven't, so you have to fucking change your run, because I can't get it to you now, and Watkins just kept the same straight line run. And then I was also continued to be annoyed at Watkins because once Grealish doesn't play that pass, he takes it into the byline, and Watkins stands at the back post. It's such an un-Ollie Watkins thing to do. Grealish can't get him the ball. He's running diagonally away from the net, so the cross is going to be weak. Watkins has to come across to the front post. I just thought it was poor from Watkins after Grealish should have played the pass. Watkins has to react to that.
I just think as well, I was disappointed in Grealish because, again, it was 3-on-2, and I know Barkley's dragging his arse coming up, but Grealish isn't drawing a defender like he always does. He's sort of letting them two hold their positions, if you know what I mean. He's letting the two defenders split the three of them. Well, he's not obviously picking going towards Watkins, and then when he does decide to pick to go towards Barkley, Watkins is out of the game because somebody else has come back. I just thought the angle of his run was it was timid almost, which definitely isn't something we associate with him.
Once Grealish doesn't play the first pass, I think it's defended really well by Leicester, and I think he's only got a split second to play that because the guy in the cover comes around and covers off the angle really well, and after he covers off the angle, he then aggressively comes in towards Grealish to shut the angle down even more, and then Grealish can only either play it to Barkley, and to be fair, he doesn't play it to Barkley. I think he sees that Barkley's fucked. Yeah, and I don't know. I think it was really well defended. I think you're nitpicking probably because it's Jack Grealish and you expect more from him.
I'm nitpicking as well because I thought the game was going to end 0-0, and I thought like we've just had a 3-on-2 of our three best attackers, and we didn't even get a shot. It was just so pissed off. But we did score in the 91st, 92nd minute. I'm not sure which one it was, but actually, we're going to get into WhatsApp whinges next, but you did send me a message about 75 minutes into the game. Ross Barkley, take him off. He's fucked.
Well, sold me up the river there, mate, haven't you?
What do you have to say for yourself?
I was wrong. Actually, no, wait, I wasn't wrong. He was fucked. Yeah. And he was playing shit. Scoring the goal doesn't take away from that. I was right.
No, Liam. We've had this discussion before about people like Ronaldo. Like you don't take them off because they can do something like that.
Hang on.
No matter what they're not doing.
You were comparing Ross Barkley to Danny Drinkwater 4 weeks ago, and now you're comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Hey, the evidence has changed. This is science in real time. I'm just adapting.
Fair enough. Let's move on to your fucking whinges. See who's the plonker.
Let's do it. What's up, whinges? Actually, like, just let's qualify that we're all very happy. 4 wins from 4. But these are in real time. Again, just experiencing the highs and lows of a game. Actually, the great stat there is it's the first time Villa have won 4 games since 1930, and I just checked it up they've got 12 points. Villa only got 35 last year. So after 4 games, they already have over a third of the points that they got last season. So it's going well.
It is. It's incredible.
First WhatsApp thing I didn't send to you, but I was going to. Konza needs to grow the fuck up.
I have absolutely no idea what that's in relation.
He passed the ball straight to Iheanacho in the first half. I was like, you can't be doing that. Like, I think like whatever happened, it was fine. I think John McGinn saved the day, I think it was. But Konza played really well tonight. Like that chance he got for a header was amazing. How high he got up again, got the ball down really low again, pretty accurately under serious pressure. Comes out with the ball really well, but he needs to grow up. He can't be giving the ball away to the striker 30, 40 meters out. Like that's just if you're talking about winning Premier League titles, you can't be having that.
That definitely wasn't the game for it, but it's certainly the season for it in terms of everybody else in the Premier League. But you know what, Conor? It's just so un-Villa like. It's just not what we've come to expect from this Aston Villa team.
Yeah. My standards have been raised. Yeah, there was a time last season when Engels and Mings were just doing that frequently, just handing them out to people. One time in 4 games, I'm like, that P needs to grow up. That one of our best players so far.
Yeah. He's growing up, I think, and I think that was just maybe an overreaction.
Maybe I need to grow up.
Yeah.
Moving on. On what planet is Matt Targett taking a 20-yard free kick on a team with Barkley, Grealish, McGinn, and Louise?
This was actually a really annoying thing all night. That was a terrible free kick as well. It's just an absolute waste of time.
And you knew it was going to be.
I've just floated it over the crossbar. It was just like, oh, what the fuck? Like, you might as well just dink that, like, instead of pretending to have the right body shape to hit the free kick. But that was a real irritant all night. The constant changing of who was hitting the set pieces. And they were all shite at it as well. McGinn corners were terrible. Grealish's were terrible. Targets were pointless.
Traore
came on then. What the fuck was that about? Why is he hitting them all of a sudden? I suppose why not? The rest of them are so dreadful. No, like Matt Targett hitting a free kick, just fuck off.
That's partly why I started looking at Ross Barkley a bit more sorely, because I knew Conor Hourihane was on the bench, and I'm watching Matt Targett hitting free kicks and John McGinn hitting corners. It's like, just get him on this. Like, it's a 0-0 match. Get our best set piece taker on him. Matt Targett's taking a fucking free kick.
Whenever I was texting you about Barkley, I think it was just as McGinn was hitting the corner, and that was one of the things that actually motivated me. I was like, jeez, I wish fucking Hourihane was hitting this. It was shambles. The Matt Targett one wasn't even in a great position. It wasn't even in great range. Like, there's an argument to be made that nobody should be shooting from there, let alone fucking Matt Targett.
I actually think that's a right-footed, like, that's like, remember Hourihane scored one against Newcastle on the left-hand side, like that's a right-footed shot where that angle was. You're going to try and whip that around the outside of the wall into the keeper's near post. You can't score anywhere else from that. You're in the corner of the box.
Yeah, maybe you're just deceiving the keeper by whipping it in near post. Yeah, like it's an impossible free kick for a good footballer.
What bus is Jack Grealish waiting on?
What are you talking about?
Take a fucking shot, man, every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that was frustrating tonight. I'm always prone to react badly, and then because it's Grealish, because I trust him, but also because I love him, I'm always then really eagerly watching the replay so that I can convince myself that he did the right thing. But there was a couple of times tonight where it was like, just have a spank. Nothing else is happening in this game. The movement's not there. Barkley and McGinn aren't as energetic, probably under instruction as well to be careful to Leicester. Just get it out of your feet and have a shot. Like, you'll never know what's going to happen. It might go in. Yeah, it was frustrating.
Sometimes he just goes into that little waiter mode where he just wants to serve people, and he does that better than anybody. He's a Michelin star waiter, but like we like him being a killer, and that comes down to as well when he is creating stuff. Like again, he created a lot of stuff tonight. But somebody had texted me to say, what a first half from Grealish, and that's just immediately a trigger for me. It's like it's the same every half. What are you talking about? Like every half Jack Grealish has played for the last 5 years. We talked about this last week. It's the same. He's brilliant. But I was making the point to him, like, because I think it just remember that little back heel that he played to Matt Target.
Yeah.
Like Matt Target there's a lot more Matt Target coming up, by the way, but he's in line with the 6-yard box. He's inside the box, and he whips a ball high and long into the air. It's like, what are you doing? Like Neil Taylor did better in that position.
And that's the worst thing I can think of saying to anybody.
But I was saying this to your man. It's like I'd like to see him play more with England. I'm imagining him doing this with Rashford and Sancho and Sterling, and rather than backheeling to Matt Target, he just immediately loses the ball.
Yeah, and I would love to talk about how bad that cross was, but just getting back to Grealish, I think I actually texted you about four years ago saying Grealish does need to increase his output. To be honest, not that I'm a mad proponent of stats-based football analysis, but Grealish could always do with a few more numbers next to him. Like he doesn't, for somebody of his ability, he doesn't get enough goals. I don't think. Like, even the way he took that goal against Liverpool, I know it was the 7th goal, so there wasn't that much pressure on him. But he made Adrian look like a fucking tit. It's something that does frustrate me. I just love to see him have a few more shots. Like that one against United, that was almost out of the blue. It's like, what are you shooting from there for? Oh, fuck yeah. Because you're Jack Grealish and you can just whip that into the top corner. Should be doing it more.
Next one. Fuck off, McGinn. This is I probably shouldn't have even written this down, but he had a big chance to lay in Trezeguet. Remember he had broken through. Grealish again played him through in behind, and it was actually annoying. Like that disappointed me about Watkins a little bit as well, is that he didn't come to life until it was like, oh Jesus, we're in here. It's like, come on, we had spoken about this when Grealish has the ball, get moving. It's coming, something's happening. McGinn goes in behind. Watkins wakes up, but then Trezeguet's coming sort of deeper, and McGinn just needs to find him, and the pass is short, and somebody. Trezeguet's completely free, and it's open to pass it to him.
Yeah, and like I always say though, it was the right pass. Like it was a brilliant pass. If it's played, we'd be talking about how good it was, and it's just technically really badly executed. He pulls it back too much to the covering midfielder, but at least he sees it. It was really annoying, especially at that stage of the game. But then again, Conán, it was rolling it back to Trezeguet. Anything could have happened.
Well, like I say, it doesn't make any sense when you stack it up to the next whinge. It's not even a whinge you have here. It's hilarious how good Villa's midfield is.
It's absolutely brilliant. It's the best.
That includes Grealish.
That includes, yeah, of course it does. The one thing I would say is tonight it was so mentally draining for them to be so switched on for the whole game, especially covering space, following your man. That those things will happen then. Like you're knackered mentally even by the time you get into an attacking position, and then John McGinn will overplay a pullback, or Grealish won't shoot when he should. So those things get into your head. But tonight they were brilliant. Just even working in tandem, it was so good to see. Like the shuffling across together, going at the same time, knowing where each player was going to be, and to have that so quickly as well. This is only Ross Barkley's second game. It's working so well. It's so encouraging. Might end up regretting not having another midfielder, but let's not countenance that until we need to.
What about Hourihane? Because things looked good before Barkley was signed as well.
Yes. Maybe, and it's a different thing. Then it's a different system. Like Villa were so good tonight against Leicester. They were so good last week or 2 weeks ago against Liverpool. That's different to beating Sheffield United, who haven't turned up yet this season, and Scott Parker's Fulham.
I like I do like Dean Smith's respect of the system though. It's like we were talking about his late subs, bringing people on very late. Like I think did he only make one sub tonight, and it was Traore after 80 minutes. And then Traore comes on and he's good, and you're like, oh, you're starting to write these boys out of your head when they're not being used more. But it's like everything is so crucial to the system, and maybe this is where Hourihane sort of. He's not up to it as much. He's not switched on like Barkley would have been. And you're right, Barkley was mentally drained. His touch went towards the end because probably just been focusing for the whole game. But it's like he can't afford to have anybody not be switched on, and that's where Trezeguet comes in handy as well. But Bertrand Traore came on and it looked good, But it's almost like I almost respect, like as much as I would have liked to see Hourihane being used, or as much as I don't have a problem with him being used in the future. I like that Smith is so protective of what they're doing. It might end up making everybody bollocks in the long run, but
no, it's really a case of horses for courses, isn't it? Like we know that Dean Smith thinks about the opposition before he sends a team out, which is the least you'd expect from a manager, but you'd be surprised how little you get it. And Liverpool and Leicester are absolutely not the teams to be sending Conor Hourihane out against. And there was no way that Conor Hourihane was coming on tonight. Like he might have even put Jack Grealish into midfield if there was an injury in midfield.
I've just got 6 words for this next one, 6 bemused words, and the player's name in brackets. What the fuck is this shit? And the player's name is Slimani. What the fuck is that shit? I would have put money on him not being there anymore. I didn't know he played for Leicester. Neither did I. Didn't know he was still playing.
Yeah, it was bizarre, and he only had one touch, and it was a looping header that went 40 or 50 yards over the bar. Yeah, it was absolutely insane.
Yeah, he lost one out he tried to keep one in, which he should have kept in, and he didn't. It just like, sort of he tried to touch the ball and like sort of came underneath the ball and it went over his foot and went out for a throw in. And there was another bad touch he had. He was making a diagonal run that you would see Vardy making, and it just bounced off his foot and went 40 meters away. And then that header was just what is this? Like what? Like that's an insult. Give us somebody better.
Give us a challenge.
Yeah,
the lads are up for it.
Remember that scene in Troy where it's like, "Is this what you left me for?" Some man, like he brought off Iheanacho for this mess.
Yeah, and it was funny because beforehand they were talking about how much they were going to miss Vardy tonight, and come the 75th minute, that was really fucking apparent.
And so counterproductive. You're bringing on Maddison and bringing on Slimani with him, like not with him, but like what a waste of having your most creative player on, and then you just take it off any good striker.
Iheanacho had put on a lot of hard, pointless yards as well, though. So maybe he just thought anything's better than Iheanacho not being able to move anymore. I don't know. Yeah, it was bizarre. What the fuck is this shit? Just about covers it.
Last one. Does James Maddison think his hair is good? Because it's not. Well, actually, you know what? It would be all right if you had the right facial structure for it. It's the same with Harry Kane. Like Maddison's better looking than Harry Kane, but he's not as good looking as Jack Grealish. Like Jack Grealish can have hair that would make some of us raise their eyebrows, but he gets away with it because he's good looking. James Maddison isn't good looking enough to be rocking hair like that.
Right. So whenever I said at the start, it was a mental and physical war of attrition, and it wasn't a great game because of that. Your mind obviously started drifting somewhere else entirely.
And then suddenly break up the Wikipedia search of Slimani. Getting into some categories next. Roy Keane thinks Scott Parker is a dweeb.
In one single moment, your whole life can turn round. I stand there for a minute, staring straight into the ground. Looking to the left.
Roy Keane thinks everybody's a dweeb. The world feels like it's caved in, proper sorry frown. Please let me show you how it could only just be for us.
I just thought every time he cut back from Parker being interviewed, for some reason he was being interviewed 2 or 3 times before the game, and he's talking shit obviously, and and every time he cut back, it looked like Roy Keane was holding in a laugh, and it looked like, you know, Carragher had that little knowing look that he has sometimes, you know, when he knows what somebody's laughing at or whatever.
Try your eyes, mate. I know it's hard to take, but her mind has been made up. There's plenty more fish in the sea.
Like, he's a proper football bloke, you know, and he tries to pretend that he's intelligent as well, so then pretentious football writers can get behind him. Scott and Roy Keane, that's absolute fodder for Roy Keane. You know, he snuffs that out immediately. He hates bullshit, and you're right, he hates Scott Parker.
Try your eyes, mate. I know it's hard to take, but her mind has been made up.
Like, even at the end of that game, the story isn't fucking Scott Parker. The camera's on Scott Parker's face. Aston Villa have just climbed into the Champions League places, never to be dislodged. That's the story. It's not fucking Scott Parker getting spanked again.
Alright, another new category, Liam.
Oh.
The blowing out his arse award.
Is this not named after anybody?
No, but it could be named after Matt fucking Target. The Matt Target blowing out his arse award. So obviously Ross Barkley is mentioned because we already talked about him, but Matt Target is the only other nominee I have. He just looked wrecked. Do you know what? I felt endeared towards him when I saw him hugging Dean Smith afterwards, and I thought, you know, Dean has time for him. Maybe I should give him a chance. But again, we're talking about the standards being raised. The team is very good, and now it's Matt Target and Trezeguet that just, you know, if you're going to win a league, these are the 2 weak links.
And to be honest, we were worried about those two all pre-season. As short as pre-season was, we knew those were going to be the obstacles to us winning the title. But, you know, Liverpool won the Champions League with Jimmy Traore at left back, so let's not write it off just yet. But the reason Matt Target was blown out of his arse was because Matt Target played well. Matt Target was running up and down the pitch, which is the minimum you'd think I would be expecting from a fullback. But it's a lovely little surprise whenever it's Matt Target. There was a couple of times he went on the overlap all the way, committed to it, got to the byline, and got back. And he actually was involved in the goal as well, where he bravely for a packet of crisps took a touch inside to John McGinn. It was a good performance from a otherwise shit player who's got a lot more good performances to do to convince me that I don't hate him.
Well, you find yourself in a unique position where you're going to have to defend Matt Target. The Vyman meter going down, Matt Target.
Oh.
And I have that because the free kick, the corners. You're talking about him running up and down. He did run, right? But here's my problem with what I saw tonight. I mentioned Neil Taylor already. Neil Taylor did better in the position that Jack Grealish put on a plate for him. But Neil Taylor's worst quality is that he never moves when he has the ball. Like, you look out for it. If anybody hasn't noticed this, watch the next game. Neil Taylor, you might think he's solid or whatever, he's not. But when he has the ball at his feet, he doesn't move. He just stops and he waits to just pass it off to somebody. So then that immediately puts the team under pressure because it's obvious. Yeah, he's not drawing anybody. Matt Target is just starting to get a bit too comfortable with Jack Grealish and Ross Barkley over at this side.
Yeah, like I'm surprised he's going down because the Vyman. Remember what the Vyman meter is. I could never hate you. So it's a lot of it's based on effort, and for once we got a bit of heart from the man with a heart the size of a pea. We got a bit of that from him tonight. We got a bit of running. The quality was absolutely dreadful. But is Matt Target asking to hit the corners? That must be discussed in training. They're not going out to the pitch not knowing who's hitting the corners. Somebody else should be saying, absolutely, under no circumstances is Matt Target hitting a set piece tonight. There's a myth going around that Matt Target's got a nice cultured left foot. That's because That's because he's slow, and people are trying to figure out what else he's bringing to the table. Like the cross into Watkins was so bad. Watkins wasn't even the player to cross it to, and he overhits it. He overhit a cross that he had about 30 yards to play as well, which is so annoying. Watkins is so
Are
far
you
away from him.
are you defending him?
Oh, Christ.
You've just started winding yourself up as you started talking about him. You were trying to be kind.
This is me defending my target.
You know what? No, I'll take it. He's staying still. He did go up. I don't think it was a Liverpool match. Was it the Fulham match he went up? And like you weren't too keen on him going up the meter at that stage. But I was happy that he put in a few tackles and and I was like, well, he's coming from a low base. He's going up, so we'll keep him at that slightly higher than low base. I don't really have a personal issue with Matt Target. I don't know him.
just feel the need to clarify that.
I actually don't mind him too much as a player. Again, the standards have gone up. Staying still on the Vyman meter. I don't know if this should be a thing, but I wanted to. Like basically everybody else he's not mentioned is staying still on it. But I wanted to talk about Trezeguet because he's often quoted in this. He's usually going up for the very reasons that we talk about Vyman. Yeah, like a bit of a mixed bag, but again, it did give you everything apart from that wing mirrors moment where he shit himself when he was through. He tries really hard. He puts in a great shift. I can see why Smith wants to play him for 80 minutes. Remember that, again, sorry, I don't want to divulge all your WhatsApps because they're supposed to be private, except the ones that I bring here. But you had said, why is Trezeguet still on for 80 minutes? And then Traore came on his first tackle, he fell on his arse. And I was like, well, that's why, like, because Trezeguet is going to put people under pressure. It's not a great, amazing quality to have him, one of your three attackers, but yeah, he just brings it.
No, he does, and that is definitely the reason why he was on the pitch. But I was getting greedy at that stage. To be honest, once Traore came on, it's probably not related, but I was thinking, Jesus, get Trezeguet back on, because Leicester controlled the game for the next 10 minutes, and Villa were under a lot of pressure, which is the game for Trezeguet, and it's not the game for Traore. But it was really, really erratic stuff from Trezeguet tonight. Yeah, some good stuff, a lot of effort. But there was a stage, I think it was 75th minute, where he tried to drag the ball back and somehow he ended up poking it forward. I have absolutely no idea what happened. It was one of the worst touches I've ever seen. And it was right in the middle of the pitch as well. And I was like, that probably precipitated my sending the message to you. Say, get him off.
Yeah. He had a couple of dodgy moments coming out from the back as well, where he's just trying to like knock it past players and get it beyond them, which is really positive, when you're all backs to the walls. But it's like, Trezeguet, you're not that player. Like, leave that to Grealish and McGinn. Like, I don't want you trying to take on somebody 18 yards out.
Yeah, you're not that player. This isn't a match, and Leicester aren't the opposition
Yeah.
to be doing that against. That was insane stuff. There was one where he actually got away with it, but I've absolutely no idea what happened. Or I think his body shape confused everybody else on the pitch, and he ended up, I think it even confused him. He just realised the ball was still there, and he kept running out from the box. It was, I don't know what happened. It was with the 67th minute or something like that. Yeah, it was like, stop that, Tress, please, for the love of God.
Going up, Ross Barkley.
Huh.
Yeah, and you know what? I had this. I'm ready for this. I had this before he scored the goal. Now I know we have him in the blown out his arse award, but he's just so strong. I just love a strong player on the ball who doesn't mind the challenge coming in. He'll keep going forward and he'll draw more players. It's just such an extra bonus that it's not always having to be Grealish to do that. And I know that's an easy, lazy sort of piece of analysis where it's like, like that frees up Grealish. It doesn't. I just mean it's an extra player who can just give you something. Like you don't have to wait for Grealish to get on the ball to sit up. When Barkley has it, he starts running, and players on the opposition team start panicking.
Yeah, the best thing about Ross Barkley isn't the fact that he frees up Grealish. It's the fact that he's a bloody good footballer. Yeah, like maybe I shouldn't have been surprised that he's going up, because he did put in a shift, but he was clearly knackered, and he didn't play that well, but his goal was absolutely brilliant. It was a great finish, something that we'd like to see Jack Grealish doing a lot more. But it was so decisive as well. There was, when he got that ball, he was putting the ball in the bottom corner. He looks up, sees Schmeichel, sees the space, and just drills the ball into the bottom corner. And even for that alone, he definitely should be going up in the meter.
And it's not even like the finish is one thing, but it's just the way he hits it and jogs away thinking, yeah, how do you like that? There's plenty more where that came from. And we actually need to talk about Douglas Luiz just on that, because everything opened up for him the exact same way in the second half. And it's like, Dougie, any goal you scored has been a screamer. And he doesn't even drive straight forward. He starts going diagonally out to the right and plays again. Maybe this is why Trezeguet is always the focus of our criticism, because these great players have the ball and then they end up giving it to Trezeguet, and then things inevitably slow down a little bit. But yeah, everybody backed off. Everybody in the Leicester defense realized they had to go back to their 18-yard box. Dougie was around 40 meters out. He could have just kept driving and had a ping, and he just started making his way to the right. Took himself. There was nobody around him. He took himself out of the danger area and just popped the ball off to somebody else.
Yeah, and maybe Dougie's obviously been given greater responsibility in the team from a defensive perspective, as in he's the only defensive midfielder now. So maybe he's conscious of that. He doesn't want to have a shot that pops out off a deflection and comes back out. I never really have any trouble with my defensive midfielder not taking on a speculative strike. It's not the biggest issue. I would have a much bigger issue with the terrible shot he had, the one Grealish picks him out at the edge of the box. That's the goal Douglas Luiz has scored. He wraps his foot around it. He wrapped his foot around that and just trickled it into Schmeichel's arms. That was really frustrating, because Grealish had done so well. It's a little bit cowardly to just drive out to it's the easy thing to do. It's low risk football, which we're obviously not fans of. Ross Barkley, drive through and have a shot. Dougie, if you wanted to pop it around a bit, maybe do it.
Well, let's do a Ronnie Rossifal award very quickly. Dougie's shot, because that was laid on a plate for him. Either side of Schmeichel there, I think that's going in, because the power of the delivery for him is just, all he has to do is hit it, and it's whipping past Schmeichel. It would have to be a great reaction save from Schmeichel, who can't see the box is crowded, or Ollie Watkins, his air shot. Who crossed that? I can't even remember. I just remember the ball dropping down for him, and I think it was McGinn, and he just missed the ball basically when it had dropped at his feet. Again, I know he's unsighted, but big chance when it was 0-0, so I'm probably overly analysing these things.
Yeah, it's an air shot. I don't think you can overanalyze that. It's just terrible. Somebody in commentary said he should have gone with his head. Probably right, because you're not relying on the defender missing it. Then you can just go up and win it instead of waiting for the ball to come down. But it was just terrible execution. We've all done it, but we're not 28 million pound centre forwards. But Grealish is standing right behind them as well, and I'm not sure why Grealish is in there. Grealish needs to go to a different position there as well. Maybe that confuses him. I don't know. It was absolutely shite, and it was definitely worse than Dougie's shot. Dougie's was still at the edge of the box. Expect a lot more from him, but no, Ollie Watkins is the Ronnie Rosenthal award, definitely.
The Peter Enkelman What the Fuck award. I've got two. Douglas Luiz, again, his foul on James Maddison, 20 yards out in the centre of the goal. It's what are you doing? I know it's dangerous, but you've just given him a shot anyway that he would have to take on from play with you right behind him and Mings right in front of him. Instead, you fouled him, giving yourself a yellow card and giving him a free shot 20 yards out under no pressure. Just there's a tiny cynical foul. It's when Matt Cash has been wrong-footed out in the wing and they've got men over.
Yeah.
And you're not giving them a dangerous. You're just bringing them down and running back in the position. Not at the edge of your box, giving them the best free kick, their best chance of the game.
Yeah, he should have at least tried to win the ball in the foul. It was just a cynical, stopping him from playing. At least try to nick the ball and you'll foul him anyway. Like, if he doesn't foul him there, are we then just going to be complaining about him not being street smart? Letting him be one-on-one with Tyrone Mings in the last 10 minutes of the game inside the box. And he has to foul him at that exact moment as well. Otherwise, he's in the penalty area. And it is their best player. I don't know. I don't think it's letting the ball go under your foot from a throw-in category.
That's fair enough. The Matt Targett and Ross Barkley free kick routine. So, like, Barkley looked like he was running up to drive. I think it was a routine, but then Targett definitely played it wrong. Where I don't know what, like, he kicked it to his left foot at the very last minute, so then Barkley was like, "What the fuck?" So then Barkley had to sort of poke it forward with his toes, and then he got a 1-2, and he actually almost worked it well in the end. But it's like, Matt, wake up! It just looked like that he didn't know what was going on. I do think it was a routine, but it was just executed very badly.
It was definitely a routine. I thought it was Ollie Watkins that was that just didn't know what was happening. So he's obviously central to it. He has to play the 1-2, but he's kind of caught in his heels. So unless the Leicester defender's just really tight to him, I thought it was Ollie Watkins that ended up, leaning back and kind of not getting it back to Barkley. But now that you say it, it's definitely weird that it ended up on Barkley's left foot to play it into Watkins. That clearly shouldn't have happened, and Targett must have fucked up. And I'm more than happy to blame Matt Targett for this.
And another 25-meter free where Conor Hourihane wasn't on the pitch, so again, this was being intensified. Questions we can't answer, but probably will. Why are Mings and Konza wearing each other's numbers?
What?
So Tyrone Mings is playing left centre back and he's wearing number 5. Ezri Konza is playing right centre back and he's wearing number 4. They have to be swapped around. It just looks like a mess. Number 4 is a left-footed number, and number 5 is a right centre back number, unless your right centre back is wearing number 20 or number 6, or another number.
Another number.
It just looks like a mess. It looks. Remember, Cash is playing left back for a bit there because Targett had wandered off. He hadn't wandered off. He had to fill in at left back. And like you see the number 2 over to the left, and it's like, oh, that's weird. When you see 4 and 5 together at centre back, and they're in that order with 5 on the left and 4 on the right, not for me.
I don't see it. No, I think
you don't see it.
I don't think that's a problem.
If you were lining out a team now, like like a squad that we were just writing down our dream team. So number 1's a goalkeeper, number 2's right back, number 3's left back.
Number 4 is left centre back. Yeah, maybe it is actually. Maybe it is. I'm never going to be able to look at a Villa game again. I'm not going to be watching Villa hoping that Engels and House are starting.
All right, can you win a league with Trezeguet in your team?
Well, listen, Leicester City won a league with an Aston Villa, 2 Aston Villa rejects, one beforehand and one afterwards. Fucking Mark Albrighton tearing it up, and Danny Drinkwater. Like anybody can win a league apparently. I mentioned Jimmy Traore earlier. Yeah, like great teams have bad players in them. Like Wes Brown was right back for that brilliant Man United team that won the Champions League and League double. Like you can win a league with Trezeguet. Whether or not you can win a league with Matt Targett and Trezeguet is another question. Go on, sorry.
It probably shows how much on another level that United team were that Wes Brown is their weak link, because Wes Brown was quite good, and Wes Brown was like, apparently he was the hottest, the best prospect coming through in England, at that age group. Apparently he was the real deal. So like this guy wasn't just a nobody, but that United team was such a level. We were talking about Trezeguet. Wes Brown, Trezeguet. I don't think it's the same thing.
Yeah, Wes Brown was a centre half though, playing right back. But take the point. He would probably mark Trezeguet out of the game. But like Grealish, Barkley, McGinn, Mings, Konsa, Martinez, Watkins, they're all so good that I think they can carry Trezeguet. and get him that title that he doesn't deserve.
Um,
No, but that is going to be a problem later on, because there's nothing done to address those two clear issues, and we needed another forward and we needed a left back, and I just hope that doesn't stop us from winning the title. Imagine how much they're going to be kicking themselves if not spending the 40 million on those two positions stops them from winning a title.
But the Matt Target thing, like, somebody listening to this might be thinking, well, we've kept 3 clean sheets in 4 games. Only team we conceded against was Liverpool, who have the best attack in Europe, and we scored 7 against them, so it's fine. Matt Target is part of a back 5 that is performing really well.
That's performing really well in spite of Matt Target. And the only 2 goals we conceded came down his side. If we want to get picky about it, was Mo Salah got the 2 goals.
Does anyone sweat more than Ross Barkley? It actually looked like he was going for showers regularly during the game. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, this was early in the first half. I thought, what? Like, it was drenched, like absolutely soaking.
There are some players that are just like that. I remember Roy Keane saying it about Gary Pallister before. He looked knackered after 5 minutes. And Ross Barkley, I think you mentioned this in his debut as well. Like, he just constantly looks like he needs to be taken off. And maybe that's in my head whenever I'm sending you dodgy messages 10 minutes before he scores an absolute screamer to win the game against your title rivals, to take him off. I can just see that he wants to be taken off, or his body wants him to be taken off.
Do you ever play against, like, this is usually in 5-a-side, you ever play against those out of shape boys? And Ross Barkley's not out of shape, but they're soaking. And you touch them, it's like, oh, like your hand feels like you've dipped it in a basin of water after they just brush against you. And it's sweat, so it's obviously way worse.
Yeah, and then you start thinking that's a tactic. All your teammates are shouting, touch tight, touch tight. You're all right, mate.
A very good tactic. Who's the best defensive forward in the world? Like, we talked before about Roberto Firmino. I think we were putting together a dream attack of Roberto Firmino, Daniel James, and Andres Weimann.
A nightmare attack, yeah.
Does Ollie Watkins get into that? And I don't say defensive forward to slag him. I actually think he's very good at winning ball back. Like, himself, not even part of a system, or he's actually just going and winning a lot of ball back himself.
Yeah, and there was actually a really encouraging bit in the first 3 or 4 minutes where the 3 of them were chasing the ball down, but they were also then covering for each other. Sorry, Trezeguet, Grealish, and Watkins, obviously. Grealish ended up at centre forward, and Watkins was out on the left, and then Watkins ended up coming all the way back to help out Matt Target as well. Yeah, he wins a lot of ball, puts in a good shift. Yeah, I'd put him into that team ahead of Daniel fucking James anyway.
Who do you blame most for the scene that we saw twice on the sideline? Brendan Rodgers and James Maddison in full-blown tactical conversation. Do you think that was James Maddison being, the player who's injured, but wanting to show that he's above the rest of the subs? So I'll go down to the sideline here and chat to the boss. Or is that Brendan Rodgers trying to, sort of cozy up to one of his better players?
I thought that was just a broadcasting error. I thought it was just a scene spliced in from The Human Caterpillar. It was disgusting. Just, lads, Christ almighty. They weren't sniffing each other's holes. They'd just be bent over sniffing their own. It was
human centipede, not caterpillar.
Human centipede.
What a grim film.
Yeah, one only made more grim whenever you see it starring Brendan Rodgers. Oh, it was horrible.
I ended up saying that they were sniffing each other's holes. Go on.
I don't know where I was going with that, but it wasn't going to be nice.
So I think this is what happens. James Maddison's thinking, like, you're not at Ronaldo level. When you're at Ronaldo level, you can obviously just walk around the sideline if you want. he's thinking, yeah, I'm not a sub. Like, I should go down here and give my tuppence worth to the manager. Never mind all the backroom staff. You're way more experienced and qualified than me. Never mind the manager. I'll go down and tell him what I see. And I think Brendan Rodgers was only too delighted to see that one of his better players would come down for a tactical discussion, knowing that this is the Premier League and there's going to be camera shots. And if Leicester win, if James Maddison comes on, then what were those two talking about earlier in the game? Maybe Brendan Rodgers was telling him what to do.
Yeah, it's just like a match made in fucking hell. Like, get off my fucking camera screen.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's all we have time for. I think what a night again. Like, this podcast, I think, is a really, really good omen. I thought it was good to start off with because we kept keeping clean sheets, but apparently that's just what we do now. I've gotten really cocky because people are like texting me because I'm not in Ireland. There's a lot of Villa fans, but people don't know a lot of Villa fans, so they tend to know a few of them. So they'll text you when Villa have a big result, and now I've just started sending that shrug emoji back. It's like, yeah, like what we expecting? Like, this is just a natural consequence of a really good team playing a team that they're better than. I think I'm going to own this for a few weeks until it inevitably blows up in my face. If you're enjoying the podcast, follow us on Twitter at the Villa Podcast, or get us on Instagram, the Villa Podcast Show. The Villa Podcast was taken by somebody who's not using the account, and I don't have any money to pay them to buy that account off them just yet. But give it a shout out, share it on to any mates you might think that'll like it. Anybody who doesn't like Matt Target as well. Anything else, Liam?
No, I think that wraps it up. Yeah, another glorious night on the title charge. It's funny that we have this category now called WhatsApp Whinges, preemptive, expecting that this was going to be another struggle, and it's become redundant. It's going to have to become WhatsApp celebrations or something.
That sounds like a human centipede reincarnation as well. Just the two of us sniffing the holes of Villa players we love. Let's keep it critical. See you next time.
That wind is calling my name, and I won't wait, or I'll never get on.